What an exciting end to the game between the Golden State Warriors and the Brooklyn Nets. 26-9 run for the Nets to close this one out and come back and win without Kevin Durant. And you could feel that energy on the floor afterwards, that the Nets felt like this was a win to help them get over some sort of humps.
You know, I take my hat off to this one, the way they were down in the halftime, to be able just to gut this one out. Obviously led by Kyrie, the way he played the basketball game. But this was one that they had to go into halftime. We'll love to hear Jacque Vaughn's speech and what was the game plan coming out of. Might not have anything to do with basketball, X's and O's, but Jacque Vaughn also needs to get some credit on where this Brooklyn Nets have turned the corner, in my opinion, to a team, whether they have Durant, whether they're Kyrie, there's a culture there now and a mentality there now on how we going to play the game of basketball.
You know, Grant, when Kevin Durant's injury was announced, we look back to last season. And we're like, man, when Kevin Durant, got hurt, this is where the team just plummeted. How is this team different this year? I think this kind of game kind of answers that question the way that they ended this one.
Well, I mean, they're showing some toughness here. They're getting it done, too, with their defense and getting stops when they need to, forcing Golden State into tough situations, turnovers, things of that nature, bad shot attempts. Last year they wanted to outscore you, and the margin of error was slim. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving had to be sensational for this team to have a chance. Now you don't have Durant. Other guys are stepping up. The offense is moving. It's not as much ISO, although at times it gets into the right person's hands. But defensively, they're giving effort. There's accountability. And as Smitty said, you have to really applaud Jacque Vaughn. When Jacque Vaughn took over, there was a firestorm going on with that team. He had stars wanting out. There was news stories. There was just a lot of instability there. And he provided the stability, provided leadership, and they have a mutual respect. And you get knocked back when Durant gets hurt. It seems like they've settled a bit. You go out on the road, you get a win the other night, a win here. This can really help lift this team and keep them in contention until Durant does get back.
Yeah, tonight's winning performance is fueled by Gatorade, and it is one Kyrie Irving. He followed up his 48-point game with a 38-point game, had 12 points in the fourth quarter, also had enough assists to account for 21 of the 34 fourth quarter points, 9 for 9 from the free throw line, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. Grant, Duke guy, the brotherhood showing up when it's needed most.
Yeah, we talked about him having to step up, play big, which he did in terms of scoring. But Smitty said in the pregame show he had to get others involved. That 9 assists creeped in there as well. But leading the stage and hitting big shots for his team and doing it efficiently is what you need on the road against the defending champs.
Smitty, you mentioned the defense, right? And the Nets gave up 72 points in the first half, and it was like, getting outscored 19-3 on a fast break, not stopping a three-point shot, allowing them to shoot 56% from long range. You look at the second half, it's like, you only gave up 48 points. Just a completely different team on the defensive end.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they were relentless on their details and how they were coverage. They controlled the pace of the game. I mean, you look at their scoring, they scored 60 in the first half and 60 in the second half, so it came down to their defense of slowing down the Golden State Warriors. I loved it. I mean, we talked about the 19-3 fast break points. Then in the second half, it was basically, when you look at it, it was 10-2 in favor of the Nets. They did not turn the basketball nearly as much as they did in that first half, and that was the big change.
Something we talked about in the CarMax pregame show, hope you were around for that, the three-point shooters in this one. Joe Harris, 4 for 7 from three-point range. And then I see Kyrie Irving, 5 for 7. But Royce O'Neal answering the call. We were like, okay, when KD goes out, who are some guys they can rely on? Nick Claxton, Royce O'Neal are two guys that maybe would have been unsung heroes before, stepping up and putting up numbers.
Yeah, I mean, Royce O'Neal, you got to give Sean Marks credit. That was a great addition to this team. Obviously had some great years there in Utah. Comes over, is a 3-and-D guy, plays good defense, can hit three-pointers, can fit in and complement those stars. You want to surround them with shooters. And those complementary players, they're starting to find their lane and their roles. And obviously they won 18 out of 20 before Durant got hurt. But, you got to step up. And we talked in the pregame show as well about when somebody goes down, next man has to step up. And you can't fill that the shoes of a Kevin Durant by one person. It's got to be a collective effort. But you win 18 games, there's a confidence. There's a foundation that's been established with this team. And you know what? Teams got to go through adversity, and this team is sort of going through that a little bit now. They went through it in the preseason. But this was impressive. This was an impressive win for this group. Getting out on the road, getting away from home, coming together, trying to figure out, okay, how can we get through this tough time without our best player? But yeah, Royce O'Neal, Claxton, Simmons, they give you a defensive presence that was necessary. And then you're getting buy-in from Irving and Durant and others. This team, the one thing I'll say about them, the only thing that scares me, do they have a big? Is Claxton, can he guard an Embiid? A big guy, a Giannis. You're going to have to go through one of those teams, Philadelphia or Milwaukee, to really get to the finals. That's the one thing I see about this team that scares me. But other than that, I like what I see.